Welcome to Audiobook Insights channel. In this video, we will listen to the book Do Nothing by Celeste Headlee. Modern life pushes us towards constant productivity, but at what cost? Celeste Headlee's Do Nothing explores the detrimental effects of our obsession with efficiency, revealing how it compromises our happiness, health, and overall well-being. This compelling book offers a critical look at our modern work culture, which glorifies busyness and undervalues leisure. Headlee combines historical insights with current research to challenge the notion that being busy is inherently good. She provides practical strategies to help readers reclaim their time and enhance their quality of life. By embracing the principles in Do Nothing, listeners will discover the profound benefits of slowing down. You'll learn how to break free from the cycle of overworking and start enjoying life more fully. This book promises to transform your approach to work and leisure, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Introduction. How to break away from overworking, overdoing, and underliving. In today's fast-paced world, it seems as though people are reaching new heights of efficiency and productivity. Whether they're exercising twice a day, learning Italian from home, or putting in long hours at a tech startup, the drive to maximize every hour of the day is palpable. This relentless pursuit of productivity is often viewed as a positive, showcasing our capability to handle and excel in multiple areas of life simultaneously. But, one must ponder, is this a good thing? According to the author's insights, our modern obsession with efficiency is not without its drawbacks. This constant striving for more is making us unhappy, stressed out, and physically ill. For years, society has been pursuing ever-increasing benchmarks, operating under the belief that high productivity is synonymous with a successful and meaningful life. Yet, ironically, this pursuit has led us not to fulfillment but to a state of collective misery. We often sacrifice sleep, personal relationships, and leisure activities in the name of efficiency, overlooking the fact that these are the very elements that enrich and bring balance to our lives. The narrative does not just point out the problem, it also offers solutions. The book serves as both a diagnosis of our current predicaments and a plan of action for a healthier approach to living. It combines a detailed overview of where we've gone wrong in our pursuit of productivity with simple, yet effective strategies designed to set things right in the future. Through this, the book presents itself as an antidote to our hyperproductive world, suggesting ways we can reclaim our time and well-being, and urging us to prioritize a life that values quality over quantity. This shift not only promises a more balanced life but also one that is ultimately more satisfying and joyous, providing a much-needed respite from the unyielding demands of modern life. Key Idea 1. Our modern fixation with productivity is rooted in the past. The cult of efficiency, a modern phenomenon with deep historical roots. Recently, you might have noticed that productivity is trending. Everyone seems to be getting busier and busier, and goals for our work and personal lives have never seemed so ambitious. Maybe your friends have got you thinking about running a marathon. Perhaps you're planning your next promotion. Or maybe you're wondering if your kids should learn an instrument or take up another sport. As you continuously add to your to-do lists, optimize your schedule, and hope to somehow find more hours in the day, you might realize that you've fallen victim to the cult of efficiency. So, what exactly is this cult? Well, it's an attitude that supposes the busier we are, the better we are. And although this mindset has never been more powerful than it is right now, its development has been gradual rather than sudden. The key message here is, our modern fixation with productivity is rooted in historical developments, not just contemporary innovations. Believe it or not, the work ethic of past generations was not as intense as it is today. Even medieval peasants, for example, worked fewer hours than the average modern worker, and they also had more vacation time. However, a significant shift occurred during the Industrial Revolution. Factory owners moved away from paying workers per task and began paying wages per hour instead. This shift led to a dramatic increase in the number of hours people were expected to work, essentially setting the stage for the work ethic we see today. In the United States, the popular faith and the American dream further normalized these grueling work regimens. The belief that diligence and perseverance are always rewarded with wealth reinforced the idea that longer workdays were a necessary and beneficial sacrifice. This American belief helped to sow the seeds of our modern cult of efficiency. Yet, the distribution of wealth tells a different story. Since the 1960s, worker pay has barely outpaced inflation, but during the same period, CEO compensation has skyrocketed. Thus, the fruits of increased efficiency are often reaped by those at the top, rather than by the workers themselves. Moreover, our push for productivity has been significantly influenced by consumer culture. Clever marketing strategies have convinced many of us to work longer hours in order to afford products we never knew we needed. The relentless introduction of new fashions and gadgets keeps many working well beyond meeting their basic needs, perpetuating this cycle of overwork and overconsumption. This trend highlights how deeply ingrained the cult of efficiency has become in our society, driving us to prioritize work and productivity over leisure and personal satisfaction. Key idea 2. The cult of efficiency makes us feel guilty about enjoying leisure time. As we've just seen, the industrial age introduced a significant shift in worker compensation. Employees were no longer paid per task performed but rather per hour of work. This may seem like a trivial distinction at first glance, but its psychological effects are profound and far-reaching. Why is this distinction so impactful? When you pay workers based on the number of hours they clock up, you inherently change their attitudes toward time, especially toward their time off. When industrial employees began to quantify an hour of their time in dollar terms, an hour of leisure began to feel increasingly indulgent and financially costly. This shift in perception made leisure time seem less like a deserved break and more like a luxury or even a wasteful indulgence. This mentality has not only historical significance but is alarmingly relevant today. The key message here is, the cult of efficiency instills a sense of guilt about enjoying leisure time. This guilt is deeply ingrained in our cultural and economic fabric, making it a persistent challenge across generations. Consider an illustrative experiment conducted by researchers at UCLA and the University of Toronto. In this study, participants were divided into two groups, each listening to a short piece of classical music. Before the listening session, however, members of one group were asked to estimate their hourly wage. The results were telling. Those who had evaluated the financial value of their time were significantly more eager for the music to end. Clearly, thinking about their hourly wage impeded their ability to enjoy a leisurely activity fully. This finding underscores a broader societal issue. It's increasingly difficult for many people to disconnect from work, even during supposed downtime. Researchers have coined the term polluted time to describe the phenomenon where time off is contaminated by work-related thoughts or activities, like returning emails, taking calls, or mulling over business decisions. The effects of polluted time mean that many people never truly feel at leisure. This is one of the major downsides of modern, flexible work schedules. In the past, when work hours were strictly from 9 to 5, it was easier to delineate between work and free time. Now, with flexible schedules, the boundaries between these two worlds often blur, leading to significant overlap and less genuine downtime. The drawbacks of polluted time are numerous. Studies have shown that taking real breaks from work not only boosts creativity and productivity but can also strengthen the immune system. Conversely, overwork might increase our income by a marginal 6% annually, a poor trade-off considering the exhaustion and stress that come with excessive workloads. This imbalance highlights the need for a reassessment of how we value and structure our time, both at work and at home, to foster a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. Key idea 3. Even in our personal lives, we strive for efficiency. So far, things have been pretty straightforward. We've examined the origins of the cult of efficiency and explored how work can pollute our leisure time, interfering with our ability to genuinely unwind and enjoy moments away from professional demands. The solution might seem simple: just keep our work and personal lives separate, and the problem is solved, right? Well, not quite. It turns out that the efficiency trend has quickly transcended its origins in the workplace and evolved into a pervasive attitude toward life in general. This shift means that even if you haven't worked in years, you might still find yourself influenced by a mindset that values constant self-improvement and perpetual busyness for their own sakes. The key message here is clear: even in our personal lives, we strive for efficiency, often without realizing it. One vivid illustration of how efficiency has seeped into our personal lives is the concept of quality time spent with family. Of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to spend dedicated time with loved ones. This can be a deeply rewarding antidote to our usual focus on productivity. However, the notion of quality time suggests that we can and should compress our family interactions into highly rewarding, memorable, and efficient segments. This is essentially adapting family life to a productivity mindset, a mentality traditionally confined to the workplace. Another indicator of an efficiency mindset in our personal lives is the changing social value attached to busyness. Historically, having abundant leisure time was a signal of wealth and high social status. Today, however, the perception has dramatically reversed. In contemporary society, being busy, especially with work, is often viewed as a badge of honor. College-educated workers, for instance, are twice as likely to work over 40 hours a week compared to those without a degree. This statistic highlights how deeply valued busyness has become in our culture. Furthermore, our eagerness to broadcast our achievements and packed schedules on social media underscores this shift. The prestige now associated with being busy is undeniable and shows how deeply the efficiency mindset has penetrated our societal values. This blurring of lines between work and personal life prompts a critical question: how can we reclaim genuine leisure in a world that prizes efficiency above all else? Key idea 4. Our focus on efficiency can deprive us of meaningful human connections. Before the Industrial Revolution drew employees into burgeoning urban centers, the vast majority of people lived in small, close-knit communities. These communities perfectly matched the social needs of those times. People maintained a balance of intimate friends, a wider circle of good companions, and an even larger network of familiar acquaintances. Unfortunately, today, many of our social needs remain unmet in this digital age. Having hundreds of friends on Facebook, for example, simply can't replicate the emotional connections fostered by a warm, real-world community. This digital transformation, while efficient, often falls short of satisfying our deep-seated need for human intimacy, a critical component of mental health and well-being. Sadly, in our quest to streamline our lives and make them more efficient, we've inadvertently eroded a lot of human intimacy, leading to significant and unignorable consequences. Isolation, far from being just emotionally painful, presents numerous health risks. Among other dangers, it can shorten your lifespan and even increase your risk of severe illnesses, such as cancer or heart attacks. The key message here is clear: our intense focus on efficiency can severely deprive us of meaningful human connections. To understand this, consider the stark difference between typing a message and actually speaking with someone. This simple comparison sheds light on the significant downsides of prioritizing efficiency at every turn. In the professional realm, tools like emails and texts are incredibly useful. They allow for asynchronous communication. You can send a message regardless of whether the recipient is immediately available. Additionally, both parties end up with a record of the exchange, minimizing confusion later on. However, despite these practical advantages, substantial losses occur when we neglect the human element, particularly the sound of the human voice. The human voice carries with it an innate power to humanize conversations. This isn't merely sentimental, it's scientifically supported. Recent studies, for instance, have shown that we are more tolerant of differing opinions when we hear them spoken rather than when we read them. Another intriguing research study involving fMRI technology found that when people listen to a story being told, their brain activity begins to mirror that of the storyteller, a phenomenon known as speaker-listener neural coupling or mind meld. This type of deep, neurological connection simply cannot be replicated through written communications, no matter how many emojis or expressive punctuation marks are used. Thus, while email and texting triumph in terms of efficiency, they often fail to maintain the richness and emotional impact of voice-based communication. Once again, it appears that our pursuit of efficiency, though well-intentioned, may ultimately prove hollow, especially when it sacrifices the depth and quality of our human interactions. Key idea 5. Social media makes it too easy to compare ourselves to others. There's no denying that social media has significantly aided and abetted the cult of efficiency in its meteoric rise to power. After all, platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are the ideal venues to showcase and brag about everything you've accomplished. Have you just wrapped up your 10th meeting of the day? Then tweet about how busy you are. Did you bake an elaborate cake? Why not share a picture on Instagram? Or maybe you've run a marathon for charity. It's almost obligatory to tell all of your Facebook friends about it. However, there is a catch to this incessant sharing. When we use social media, we don't just broadcast updates about ourselves, we also encounter the updates that other people post. The key message here is, social media makes it far too easy to compare ourselves to others. If we're not vigilant, this constant exposure can engender a compulsive desire to outdo others, leaving us trapped in an endless contest to appear as the most efficient and productive person online. Needless to say, that's a battle we can never truly win. Human nature inherently drives us to compare ourselves with those around us, a fact unlikely to change anytime soon. Although this tendency did not originate with the advent of social media, these platforms have dramatically transformed the scope and intensity of our comparisons. In the past, our competitive sphere, often referred to as keeping up with the Joneses, was largely confined to comparing our living standards against a relatively small circle of neighbors and colleagues. Now, with the global reach of social media, anyone in your digital timeline can become the Joneses. This expansion is manageable if you are only following close friends and family, but what happens when you also follow celebrities like the Kardashians or high achievers like Elon Musk? Comparing ourselves to these hugely successful outliers can subtly reinforce feelings of inadequacy and the sense that our own lives are somehow lacking. The solution? It lies in learning to ground your self-evaluations in your own experiences and achievements, without reference to what others might be doing. For instance, instead of comparing your homemade spaghetti bolognese to the picture-perfect dish you saw on Instagram, appreciate your meal for its taste and the satisfaction it brought you. By shifting focus from external validation to internal contentment, you can mitigate the harmful effects of social comparisons and redefine what success looks like on your own terms. Key idea 6. A few simple changes can help us to slow down and improve our quality of life. Granted, the cult of efficiency is pervasive. It not only dominates the workplace but has also made significant inroads into our personal lives, affecting how we manage our leisure time and interact with others. Moreover, when we compare our lives with those of others and find them lacking, this culture of relentless productivity can make us feel utterly inadequate. However, this doesn't mean all hope is lost. In fact, quite the opposite is true. Ironically, our single-minded focus on productivity is one of the very few problems we might solve by doing exactly nothing. Although it might sound simple, achieving genuine inactivity requires intentional planning. The key message here is, a few simple changes can substantially slow our pace and greatly improve our quality of life. The first step in addressing our obsession with efficiency is realizing that many of us have lost track of where our time actually goes. For instance, research has shown that people often overestimate how much they work. Despite widespread feelings of burnout, the actual hours worked have not significantly increased over the past few decades. To counteract this, we need to enhance our perception of time. This is crucial because a skewed sense of being overworked can hinder our ability to make sound decisions and reduce our capacity for empathy, regardless of the actual hours we work. Furthermore, individuals with a more accurate perception of time tend to feel less overwhelmed. They spend less time engaged in passive activities like watching TV and browsing social media, allowing more room for meaningful leisure activities. This was illustrated in a study at the Berlin Academy of Music, which found that the most successful young musicians not only knew exactly how much time they spent practicing but were also mindful of the time spent socializing and relaxing. So, how can you apply this knowledge to your life? Begin by maintaining a detailed log of your daily activities. This includes everything from work tasks to periods spent on social media. Tracking your time meticulously can significantly improve your awareness of how you spend your days. Once you have a clear understanding of your current time usage, create a new schedule, one that prioritizes leisure over productivity. Make it a point to reserve a dedicated period each day for complete relaxation and idleness. This schedule should celebrate being unproductive as a necessary rebalance against the demands of efficiency. By consciously planning to do nothing, you can reclaim your time and enhance your overall well-being, turning away from a life measured merely by output and achievements. Key Idea 7. To recover our leisure time, we must learn to distinguish between means and ends. One of the inherent problems with a culture that extols efficiency and productivity above all else is that it can cause us to lose sight of the bigger picture. In a society that prioritizes hard work and busyness, there is a compelling push not just to neglect leisure time but also to focus primarily on the means rather than the ends. To explain further, being overly focused on how much we accomplish can lead us to overlook the true value or impact of our actions. Many of us are so consumed with ticking boxes and completing tasks that we seldom stop to question whether these activities are actually contributing to our happiness or broader life goals. This relentless pursuit of efficiency leads us to pay undue attention to the process, thereby neglecting the ultimate objectives. The key message here is, to reclaim our leisure time and enrich our lives, we must learn to distinguish between means and ends. To put it simply, a means is a process or method used to achieve an end goal. For instance, securing a good job might be a means to earn a decent salary, which in turn could support raising a happy family. Similarly, eating healthily is a practical means to achieving a longer, healthier life. However, the fixation on efficiency often leads us to overlook these end goals. For example, working long hours might demonstrate impressive self-discipline, but it could also detract from valuable long-term objectives, such as nurturing close relationships with our children or contributing to our local communities. So, what steps can we take to address this issue? It starts with making a conscious effort to question whether our productive behaviors are genuinely bringing us closer to our cherished, long-term aspirations. Consider this. Does answering emails on a Sunday morning truly advance any of your significant goals? If the answer is no, then it might be time to eliminate this habit from your life. Similarly, if you're exercising twice a day, ask yourself whether it's truly for health improvement or merely for the satisfaction of feeling productive. If such activities do not align with your end goals, they might not be worth your time and energy. By refocusing on our long-term goals and questioning the real value of our daily activities, we can avoid filling our lives with tasks that are productive, yet ultimately unfulfilling. This shift not only helps us to prioritize activities that truly matter, but also frees up more time for relaxation and enjoyment, fostering a more balanced and meaningful life. Final summary. Our modern culture's intense focus on maximizing efficiency has, ironically, overshadowed the simple joys of leisure and idleness. As we strive relentlessly to improve our lives, we often find ourselves paradoxically lonelier, sicker, and more stressed than ever before. This obsession with productivity and efficiency has not only diminished our downtime but has also eroded the quality of our personal interactions and overall well-being. The solution to this predicament is surprisingly straightforward, yet it requires a deliberate shift in mindset. We must make a conscious effort to incorporate true leisure into our lives and embrace the art of doing nothing. True leisure is not about merely taking a break from work. It's about engaging in activities that replenish our spirits and bring us genuine joy, without the pressure of being productive. In today's fast-paced world, the notion of doing nothing can seem unproductive or even counterintuitive. However, idleness is not about laziness or inactivity. Rather, it's about allowing ourselves time to reflect, rejuvenate, and engage with our thoughts and surroundings in a more meaningful way. This could mean spending an afternoon reading a book without the pressure of learning something new, taking a leisurely walk in nature without a destination, or simply sitting quietly and letting the mind wander. Making time for such activities requires us to redefine what valuable time means. It challenges the pervasive belief that every minute must be filled with task-oriented actions. By prioritizing leisure, we can start to heal from the damage caused by our efficiency-obsessed culture. We begin to see improvements in our mental health, reductions in stress levels, and enhancements in our personal relationships. Ultimately, embracing leisure and idleness is not just about taking breaks but about transforming the way we view and value our time. It's about recognizing that our worth is not measured by how much we produce but by the quality of our lives and the depth of our contentment. This paradigm shift can lead us to a healthier, more balanced, and more fulfilling existence, where the joys of simply being are celebrated rather than overlooked.